For every one positive thought we have, we statistically have 4 negative ones. Which is why sometimes you feel like you are crushing it on a Monday, but then feel defeated by Tuesday. And it turns out this is far more universal than I thought. How many of you have heard of Oprah before? Okay, a few of you. Oprah, after giving 35,000 interviews in her career, said that every single person she interviewed, every single one asked the exact same question when the interview was done. When the lights turned off, camera stopped rolling, every single person leaned in, they handed her the mic and they asked, "Was that okay?" She heard it from former presidents, to billionaires, to the greatest athletes in human history. They were all asking a question that, by the way, we ask constantly, which is what? Said differently, am I enough? Am I enough for this change? Am I enough for this next level? Am I enough for this leadership role that I don't know if I can handle and put this thing on my plate because I feel like I'm already burning the candle on both ends? And it's a hard question to answer because we're living in a time and we go through life where we actually score more points on the board for self-doubt than we do for self-confidence. You know, I went to school not knowing much English. And when you're different, sometimes you interpret that as being wrong. I had severe social anxiety. I hated introducing myself because growing up in Canada, I was often the first Juan people had ever met. So I'd make up names. I know what it's like to feel like an imposter. I think many of us do. And today, present day, many people will say, "Juan, there's no way you struggled with confidence. You talk about confidence. There's no way you dealt with social anxiety. Brace yourselves." This was sophomore me. Don't take a photo. This man has the audacity to use flash. And this kid was unbelievably insecure, and naturally when you're an insecure teenager, where do you go for confidence? You get into a relationship with another insecure teenager. In my case, with a blonde American cheerleader that I thought was going to be the one. We had the plans, we knew what city we were moving to, we knew what breed of dog we wanted. It was set. So as you could probably imagine, when that relationship suddenly ended and it fell apart, so did I. You know, I stopped trying in class because why on earth would I? What I've realized is that oftentimes we stop trying when it doesn't feel like the effort we're putting in is going to create the life that we want. So then we end up doing the bare minimum. I let myself go. I slid into a depression, and that depression needed an outlet. That outlet was food. And it started with overeating. Things got progressively worse. I developed binge eating disorder and got to a place where I was 75 pounds overweight. Obese, and food quickly became not enough. I became numb to it. You know, sometimes you turn to something and then it stops working, so you need to find comfort elsewhere. So then I turned to alcohol, and what started as Fridays became Saturdays, and then Sundays, and somehow Tuesdays. That ended with me being taken in an ambulance to the hospital for alcohol poisoning, staring at a blank ceiling, not knowing where I was. You know, I knew something needed to change. But I first needed to believe in that change. See, I realized that the first step in changing ourselves or creating change in anything that we would like to do is having the belief that we can be that new person. And then participating in that change, being a part of it. Because many times we talk about the things that we would like to affect, we talk about the things that we would like to change, but then we're not a part of that change, which really I would like our time together to really be about. Today, I would love to answer the question of how do we get that confidence back that we once had? How do we find that drive for our goals that we had at the very beginning? Y'all remember when you just got in? Remember how much energy you had, how much fire you had, how excited you were, and then a challenge came and it rolled off the shoulder. Where now it feels like it hits you with everything it has.